Director here at Butler County. Thank you. Quality Assurance Director here at Butler County Board of Developmental Disabilities, and we are so glad that you're joining us this morning. Working on a strategic plan for 24-25, and we're gathering information from all of our partners in the community. And we really value your feedback, and we're seeking your feedback. So for our providers, we're asking you if you can take just a couple of minutes. There's just a few questions that we're asking. And your perspective is very important to us because you serve the folks that we are in contact with every day. So we're also going to put that link in the chat. Patricia's going to drop that link there. It's also going to come out in the meeting minutes tomorrow. And then we're also going to send out a separate push for that in a constant contact push, because we really value your input as a provider, and we need your feedback of what areas that we can focus on for 24-25 in our strategic planning. And we're going to begin that in August. So again, we really appreciate your feedback and your partnership. So with that being said, I will turn that over to Kathy. Again, I will put Kathy's email in the chat for the technology, and Patricia will put the link in there for the strategic plan.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, awesome. So I am Kathy Borders. I am in provider relations here for Butler County. We also have Amy Winkler on the call, who is in provider relations with me. She will be manning our chat for us today. So if you have any questions, we invite you to share any questions you have during the Zoom call today, but if you feel more comfortable, feel free to pop them in the chat. A couple of housekeeping things though. We would like to ask you to stay on mute unless you are asking a question, just to prevent any background noise. And we are excited to have our guests today. We first are going to be honored to hear from Scott Marks, who is the Vice President of OPRA, which is the Ohio Provider Resource Association. So I'll introduce him and turn the time over to him.
Good morning, everyone. Hope you're all doing well today. My name is Scott Marks. I am the Vice President for OPRA, or the Ohio Provider Resource Association. I really appreciate you all having me here this morning. A little bit about OPRA, if you're not familiar, we are a trade association that represents disability service providers throughout Ohio. We serve about 200 agency provider members, as well as a number of independent providers, as well as county boards and COGs. And as I said, we're a trade association. Like we like to say, we specialize in what we call CAIR, C-A-I-R, Community Advocacy Information and Resources. Now, I want to talk a little bit this morning about some recent advocacy successes in terms of our state budget, and really the work that went into that, and how maybe we can all work together on future advocacy going forward, especially leading into the next budget and budgets beyond. But again, also, I like to say, I know I consider myself one of those people from Columbus that do all the things that annoy everybody throughout the rest of the state. So if you have any questions, comments, things you want to throw at someone from Columbus, I mean physically, even if you just want to throw out here for all of that. So again, please, anything you want to bring up, yeah, happy to answer any questions or accommodate any screaming at people from Columbus. So that's my intro. Again, if any questions, please let me know, and I'm going to dive right into it. So the big thing I just want to talk with you all about today is the recent approval of House Bill 33, the state operating budget. We at OPRA have worked in collaboration with a number of the other associations, including the County Boards Association, Values and Faith Alliance, the Ohio Healthcare Association, in a coalition advocating for increased rates for the services that you all provide here, whether those are waiver services, ICF, employment. We really, for the better of the past 2 years, have been working hard to advocate for significant increases for a number of reasons, to ensure that you all have the resource and funding and support you need to provide the great services that you all do every day. And, very importantly, to be able to address the staffing shortages that we've seen for the past several years, especially post-pandemic. So as all was said and done, as the governor signed House Bill 33 a couple of weeks ago, we are looking at, increases to all of the HCBS waiver services beginning on January 1st of 2024, an increase of 30% to the rates to those services. And then beginning on July 1st of that year, an additional 8%, bringing our waiver service rates all around up 38% by July of 2024. So first, just want to again, we can't first ignore how historic and unprecedented this kind of rate increase is, and also, express our gratitude to everybody that was a part of it, especially our county board partners who were a big part of working with the legislature to get some additional funding in to make sure that we could maximize those rates as much as possible. So we are looking, like I said, about 38% increase to the waiver services by July of 2024, as well as an increase of 13.5%, then up to 20% for the direct service line for ICF services, if any of you provide those ICF services. Again, this was a real team effort as far as working together with our system partners. But the thing that I, really want to throw out to all of you here is when we at Opera sort of really began our approach to advocacy, especially legislative advocacy, especially around advocating with our representatives and senators for better funding for disability services and for disability service providers. When we kind of started our journey there, it was really basically people like me, people from Columbus, representing associations, advocating in front of the legislature for funding. And what we really focused on with Opera is developing what we called an advocacy army, and really making sure that the majority of the advocating that was done for the services, for the people you support, for what you do every day, was done by you, the providers, the people supported, the families, not hearing from us from Columbus, who those legislators hear from all the time, but really being able to engage all of our, folks who have a real interest in these services throughout the state to be able to connect directly with their legislators to be able to make that connection to the services. And if any of you followed along with any of the budget approval process for the last year, something that we heard over and over again from legislators was, I had an opportunity to go out and visit the Butler County Board, or I had an opportunity to visit, So Provider in Butler County. And that personal connection comboed with us inviting advocates, providers, families to the State House throughout this budget process was really what we think made the historic difference. And again, for those of you who have followed this for a while, I think the biggest budget increase that I've ever seen for these services was 4% a few years ago. So to go from that to wind up with a 38% increase is incredible, historic, and again, is a testament really to all of you, to the work that you do every day, and to the intentional advocacy that you did for the people you support and for the services that you provide. So I just want to thank you all for the work that you do every day. I want to thank our partners at the county boards for their support and their advocacy in this process. And again, we are, beyond excited for these increases and to see them go into effect, and hopefully begin to stabilize some of the, challenges of the last few years. So again, want to thank everyone, and I'll just stop and see if there are any questions about the budget process, anything with that, and then I have a few more things to add there as well. All right. Well, again, those two dates to look out for will be January 1st of 2024, then July 1st. So, you know, whatever planning you all are able to start doing now, we know we're looking at those increases. And again, very excited and grateful for this budget and for everything going forward. But the other thing that I do want to put out there is, you know, we began the budget cycle advocating for close to 50% increases in the rates. So while 38% is amazing and historic, and we're very happy, the job is not done. And, you know, we will continue to advocate throughout the next budget process and beyond to get all the way to the rates that really, really support the great and quality services that you all provide. So sticking on there, just want to add on a little bit on budget, which is if any of you provide OOD or vocational rehab services, they also, while not quite the huge increases of DODD, they also got some pretty significant investment, which will allow them to draw down the full federal match amount for voc rehab services for the first time in almost 20 years. So if that's the area that you either provide services in, we are, you know, excited and expecting to see some growth in both the scope of those services. And what we're very interested in is working with them on their fee schedule for rate enhancements. But again, also exciting that, you know, we really have left a lot of money on the table in employment services through OOD in the past several years. And finally, we will be maximizing all the possible investment into Ohio to support people with disabilities in competitive employment. So also, I'm very pleased about that. The other thing I did just want to call attention to, because one of the things I was asked to maybe touch on today, and it combos in with the budget, and I was glad I saw it listed in your agenda for today already, but I just want to point out that with the end of Appendix K and with the approval of this budget, there will be a transition away from the retention bonus project that has been in effect now for the last few months. So basically the way it will work is that final retention bonus will go out in that last quarter of this year. And then, like I said, January 1st of 2024 will be transitioned into the new rates with the budget. So hopefully it should be a pretty smooth transition from, you know, working in this retention bonus world to now having the enhanced rates. But that was the main thing that I wanted to point out about the end of the Appendix K, is that the retention bonus program is really all tied in through that. So that will be ending with the end of the retention bonus. But again, grateful to our county board partners who worked with the legislature to ensure that that funding for that retention project could be then brought into the enhanced rates that were approved through the budget. So I just wanted to point that out, that, yeah, that last quarter will be that last retention bonus, and then we'll roll into the new rates in January. Only other couple things I did just want to touch on just as updates, and I know you all have a big agenda today, so I'm going to move through these quickly and then just see if there are any questions. But one of my roles at Opera is, you know, as well as kind of working in a number of different policy areas, but I really specialize in adult services, day services, and employment services. That's an area I know many of you probably from my old OACB and county board days, where I worked a lot in that realm, and that's still kind of my area with Opera. And there is a lot going on there, and I just want to highlight that there's been this blueprint work group going on for the past several years that has now transitioned into 2 quality pilot projects, which will be launching in the fall of this year, or one in the fall of this year, the other early next year. But there will be an adult day service, adult day support quality pilot project that launches in the fall, and there will be information coming out about that soon. DODD is looking to work with 76 providers throughout the state on this project. And this is an area where we've worked closely with the department, and I think really gotten this pilot project to a place that I think will be really great for people that you're supporting and really give some direction and some ideas around adult day supports and how we look at that and some of the outcomes and goals that we're looking to pursue in that area. And again, I think for any of you and many of you that provide those services, as you look at this pilot, you'll see a lot of it are things that you all already doing, trying to do, and that this pilot can maybe get some additional resource in to support some of the quality outcomes that I know you all are providing or looking to provide every day. So that's one. If there are any questions, comments about that, I'd love to talk more about that, but I just want to put that on everyone's radar here that within the next few weeks, there will be information from DODD going out about that, and I'm happy to answer any questions or work through that with anyone who would like. Then lastly, the only other thing I just want to touch on is DODD is also engaging in a years-long project of what they're calling overall waiver redesign. Basically, our entire waiver service system, they've engaged with a contractor called Deloitte, which they're going to be looking at things like our DDP and AAI assessments, how well that works, our payment systems. So basically, possibly a huge overhaul of the waiver system over the next few years. So obviously for us, who represent a big proportion of waiver providers in the state, this is a huge topic of interest for us, and we've even brought in additional resources to our team to monitor and keep apprised and influence that project as much as we can. So just wanted to put that on the radar too, as there are some big initiatives ahead. We have this big success in the budget, and there are a lot of changes will be rolling down with it through the next few years. So as far as at Opera, that's what we always want to be there for you. Again, as far as the advocacy with both our state executive partners like the department and OOD, as well as with the legislature, and be able to provide as much information and resources you all are as prepared as possible for those changes as they are approaching. So I will definitely put my info in the chat here if anybody wants to reach out or is interested in knowing more about Opera or what we do. But that's really all I have, and I'm happy to stop and answer any questions, or again, sit here while you yell at someone from Columbus for a while if you want to do so.
Hi, good morning, Scott. This is Emily calling, and I have a question. Thank you so much for all the wonderful job helping agency, and we can, have big increase for our providers, support our daily, work. And I have a question. You mentioned the PANDAC. I know the PANDAC help us, and special for the minor kids. And it's hard to find a provider. A lot temporarily parents can take care of the minor kids, right? So it ending October 14 this year, something like that. So with next year, all this change, big increase, how about the parents, they have to stop working, or they can continue be a provider for minor kids? How about the big sister, brother, if they 18, have a high school diploma, can we hire their brother, sister to take care of minor kids?
Great question. And I as I'm sure this is a very big topic right now with the transition away from the Appendix K. So you are right on in inquiring about this, as this is a major area of interest. And so what I will say is the Department of Medicaid and DODD are developing a rule to be able to continue that practice from Appendix K, but with guardrails around it, let's say, as far as what children and what parents would be eligible to participate in that service. So to your point, I think the rule is, and there are assessments being developed in part with that, to be able to continue that process for exactly what you're saying, for if care cannot be found, especially in the case where people are having to quit their jobs or really, disrupt their entire livelihoods just to be able to ensure that care. So I know that the state of Ohio is very interested in being able to continue that allowance to make sure that those services for those in need are available. But I think the question has just been sort of where basically who is in and who isn't into that sort of service. And I mean that in the way as far as I think there's been some interpretation that maybe, you know, any child diagnosed with a developmental disability would be eligible to have the care from the parent, where I think the state is trying to put more of an assessment and more guidelines around kind of significance of disability, significance of care need for indicating when that would be an appropriate service, if that makes sense. Long story short, the state of Ohio is working to continue this practice, but there's been a lot of questions just around its full application post Appendix K, if that makes sense.
Yeah, thank you so much. So basically, we're still pending, right? Now the Appendix K is ending October. We will wait until October to hear the news, continue, or new policy, right?
Yes, but I definitely, like, what I can say, I'm sorry, I wish I had more firm information of like what it will all look like post October, but I can say that the state of Ohio is working to try to have a transition so there wouldn't be a situation where people's care all of a sudden went unmet as of October when the Appendix K changes.
Yeah, thank you so much. For us, we just, okay, we don't know it's external, so we have to tell current provider, hey, you have to stop. You have to stop. We have to put a note. Okay, sometime we terminate. Oh, suddenly it's extended. Then we have to the HR role. We have to rehire the people active again. So I just wish we have some clear answer. But thank you so much. I appreciate personal idea. We work for the agencies field. I know the DoD the concern, but I thinking if we hire the provider parents for minor kids and the agency, at least we have one layer to control. I thinking that's the, help the audit process, whatever.
Yeah, definitely. And, we certainly support the service and process going forward, and especially like you said, we felt like it has created opportunities for both parents and families and for providers to, like you said, be able to serve people in situations that we wouldn't have been able to without that allowance. So definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you. I wish I had a more solid answer for you. Any other questions, thoughts? All right, well, I appreciate you having me here this morning. Again, I'll drop my info into the chat after. And yeah, feel free to reach out. Any questions, comments, I'm happy to answer them. And again, just want to thank you all for the work you do every day. Want to thank the county board for their partnership and appreciate being with you here this morning.
Thank you so much, Scott. That was wonderful to have a great summary of all the exciting things that are happening. I want to echo Susan's comments in the chat to thank you and Opera for all the hard work that you did in helping this to happen. We're really grateful.
Thank you.
I also wanted to let Emily know that the Ohio Department of Medicaid just posted amendments to the rules that Scott referred to, that they are taking public comments right now through, it's August 13th. So I'll include that in our minutes, so you can go there and look at them, the proposed changes and things. Again, these are just proposals, but feel free to look that over, and then encourage you to offer any feedback or comments to them on the form that they provide.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, well, now we are going to be pleasured to hear from Ted Millman, who is with us from Go Concepts. He is going to be sharing some information with us about cybersecurity risks. Turn it over to you.
Thank you, Kathy. If you guys hear this buzzing noise in the background, I cannot control it. It is the lawn people doing their work, so I apologize. we're going to try to get through this. My part is really today is just to give a basic understanding. There's quite a bit of diversity on this call and quite a few people that I know and recognize, but it's just education based, dealing with cybersecurity. Go Concepts has been a leader out there in the boards of DD, and it has really kind of touched the providers, but not really in agencies, but really has not gone after them as much as far as looking as far as them being part of a partnership with Go Concepts and IT. So this gives us an opportunity to at least share what we do, how we do things, not from a sales side of it, but just from an education side. And then so you can make better choices when you're looking at your IT. This IT is such a changing world. It's very difficult to keep on top of things. And as you know, in your business and line of business, you got acronyms and have different things, the language and so forth. Same thing in IT, and people sometimes get lost. And today, really, I'm trying to go down to the basics and give you that understanding. So I've got a short presentation to be able to give, and hopefully it will be helpful for you as far as moving forward and some of the choices and things that you're looking at. So hold on here. Sharing screen, is that open to me, Kathy?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I gotta find myself here. You guys see that?
We do not.
We do not. Okay. Then we generally use Teams, and I apologize. So hold on here. Let me see if I can bring it up. Oh, that's not what I want. Apologize, guys. We might have some problems here. Files. Yep. I did have it open. I'm speaking to my wife, Connie. If you guys want to say hi to Connie, she is here, but I'm not gonna be. All right, let's just do it this way.
Ted, are you going to be sharing the flyer that you sent to me? Because I can share it for you.
I'll tell you what, it's almost better where I end up just going over it. I really don't like putting too much on the screen anyway, so it might work out better on that side. So let me just kind of go through it. If you did not know, Go Concepts works is only working within the DD field, whether that's boards, agencies, or providers here in the state of Ohio. We've been in existence since '97. So organization-wise, we're around the 24 number that we work with across the state. So the impact is great. We're assisting with over 20,000 individuals when we look at that. And the reason why I state that is just so you understand where we're coming from. This is really all we end up doing. And so the information I'm trying to give to you is just information that we share all the time with our partners. Some of the ones, I mean, Butler County is part of our partnership. As far as individuals that are providers, Star Incorporated, which is down medicated billing, give you a feel there. Even the YWCA in Hamilton is one of our partners that we end up working with. So the first one I was going to cover is just, what's ransomware? Hopefully nobody has had ransomware before. I'm going to assume that, but it is one of those challenges that organizations, government agencies, everybody does come across. And basically it is just what happens is someone is able to infiltrate your computer system and the data that's on that and lock it up. So that is something that is critical with anybody out there in this field. And then they're asking for money to be able to unlock it. So that is something that you have to be proactive on. And very much what I'm going to share with you is some of the things a little bit later on about how to be proactive. Phishing, you know, that word is often used, but what does it mean, and how is it coming across? And I'm sure you guys have come across it where an email or something is just a little bit off, and they're trying to get information. Information in regards to whether it's credit cards, passwords, whatever it might end up being, that would end up giving that person something of value. And you can see that in as far as the numbers are pushed up quite a bit annually for this. And the reason why people are just, they get in a rush. You hit your emails and you start clicking and you click on something you shouldn't. Okay, we're going to talk about how to handle that. Social engineering attacks, it's just using people that you know, copying their information and being able to send it. It's going to be look off a little bit, but again, if you're not paying attention, it is one of those things that can cause a lot of trouble. Just malicious pop-ups, you know, the kitty cat, whatever it might end up being, social media attacks, whatever it is, you definitely don't want to click on something unless you know where that is coming from. And then fake and wireless networks. That's something that's kind of new. And I don't think a lot of people know about this, but you might go to a Starbucks, you might go to a restaurant, you ask them what email or what their be able to get on their Wi-Fi, and they give it to you, but there might be a second one listed there that's just one off, and you click on that, and that's going directly to that cyber criminal right there. And there's other things dealing with this networks and thinking that everything's okay, but they're collecting information as you are online there. So if you are out and about and you are using somebody else's network, okay, unless you have the infrastructure IT-wise to be able to handle that and all the protections, I would say definitely do not. Okay, you got to stay away from that. There's just too much junk out there to do it. And we'll talk about a little bit more about that. There's some other things that are involved. So let me get this out of my way here. But as far as protecting yourself and so forth, and what that ends up meaning to us, first thing is just software and hardware, whatever you're using. Everybody's business is a little bit different that's on this call. So they might be using a minimum amount, whether it's their phones or whether it's a laptop and so forth. So to be able to answer specific questions, that's not something that's easily done. But the rule of thumb is this: you really need to keep those things updated, whether they're licensing, whether it's software, whether the hardware side of it. And you need to have the best equipment possible just to do, it's your business. And you don't want people looking inside of your business. The other thing dealing with the Wi-Fi, we mentioned about, okay, if you do not have that hardware, you do not have the protection behind it, I would just say, don't use it. I'm just going to tell you that right off the bat. There's just too much junk out there that's available. Use your own hotspot. Or if you're if you're an organization that's that large, then you need to find the systems behind it to be able to do that and make it safe. So I know Butler County has those systems in place, and they can use anybody's Wi-Fi and it's not going to hurt them whatsoever. But that's not to say what you have currently is going to do the same. All right, so you have to be extremely careful on that. And then it's backup. You know, what is the most important thing to folks is their data. Okay, We had a client, a partner came on about a year ago, was a provider. They had lost all their information for 1 month, and it happened to be a month that was going to be audited. And being able to retrieve that information, it was unbelievable what they were going to end up having to do and the money that they ended up spending. And a lot of it had to do with they just did not have the person that was overseeing their IT was not doing the software updates. And so something came awry, and instead of being proactive, they were reactive, and it cost them a tremendous amount of money. We were able to come in and really assist with that. But it is something that I would end up saying to you is you got to make sure you have redundancy in your backups, 2 to 3 things. So the cloud is kind of misused. When I came first into this field, it was kind of, what cloud? What do you mean by cloud? I mean, think of it this way: it's just a virtual place to be able to back up the information, the data that you do have. So if something does happen, and it will happen, all right, you can access that information. Now, depending on whether that information is needed right away, or you can end up surviving a couple days to be able to retrieve that information. Those are all things that are structured by the business that is set up that you have running. Awareness, can't say enough about it. You have to stay aware all the time. I mean, I can honestly tell you, I've done it a couple time frames because I've used my phone, and you know how to go over and check your URL, and you know how to go over and I'm assuming to look to see if the person I'll tell you my own story. The gentleman that is my supervisor, it came from him and was on my phone, and I didn't go over it. So I just opened it up. When I opened it up, it said something about going to get some credit cards and so forth of this nature. Have you seen that one? All right. So it's out there. All right. And once I saw that, I said, oh, shoot, that's not good. So I notified our folks and everything. I didn't open anything else up, but the challenge is it's real easy to do. All right. So make sure that you're aware and you're very careful. It's just like your house. Okay. I try to put it in words that people like myself or anybody else that just doesn't, what I would say is IT oriented, is that your own house, you wouldn't let somebody in. Okay. You keep that door locked. They ring the doorbell. That's not something you just open the door on. All right. You've got to be aware of your surroundings and so forth. And then as far as if coming to a point, if your business is at a certain level, whatever level that is, or if you get kind of stranded, go look for an IT partner. Okay, go look and try to find a professional that can assist you. And what I will share with you is this: my rule of thumb is make sure that IT professional, whoever they are, can provide your needs at the level that you wish. All right. And they also speak your language. So if you're not understanding what they're saying, they're speaking IT jumbo, don't accept that. Okay. Ask them and make sure they explain exactly what they're doing. You need to be in charge of that and responsible. You don't need to know everything about IT. That's not, most of the people on this call, that's not your jobs. You just want it where it's easy enough, where it should be, where it's easy enough. It's like a light switch. You turn it on, guess what? Light comes on. All right. It isn't the intricacies of how that light works, where the electric comes from, and everything of that nature. So make sure that whoever you work with is able to do those types of things. Make sure that you check the references. Okay. And the references should be someone that is probably worked within your field or has something of similar basis, so you can call upon those, at least get 2 or 3. Just don't trust, it's somebody local. All right. Make sure you do your due diligence to make sure that those people are the right people for you. Okay. I didn't want to go over too much in regards to timing, but if there is any questions or anything of that nature, the best thing that I would you can ask them here, or If you come up with any questions, or if you're interested in knowing a little bit more information about us, that's no problem whatsoever. I would really direct them to Kathy. And then Kathy, if you can just shoot me those questions, I'll shoot them out to you, and you can share that information to everybody within this meeting if there was some follow-up questions or something of that nature. But does anybody have any questions or anything of that nature that specific to this? We're outside this. A dead silence. That's a good news. I explained myself really well. So, all right, Kathy, anything else?
No, you did explain yourself so well. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming and sharing that information with us. I have a flyer that you put together that's really great, that summarizes some of those risks and how to prevent them. So I will be including that in our meeting minutes.
Yeah, no, that would be perfect. And like I said, if somebody does have questions or so forth, just ask Kathy, and then I can shoot out an email to everybody on that. So to make sure that everybody's informed. So appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for being here. All right, I am going to turn the time over now to Patricia Dawson, who is with Butler County with us, who has an event to share with us some information about.
Thanks, Kathy. And I am going to just share my screen. I promise it won't take long to share. So hang on just a moment. Actually, I'm with Ted. The difference between Teams and Zoom always gets me. But I think, okay, here we go. All right.
Your email. We're seeing your email right now.
Sorry, hang on. Let me try again.
We saw it at first. It was there the first time you shared.
Let me just. Okay, do you see it right now?
Yeah, Canva.
Still see it?
Yes.
Good deal. Okay. All right. Well, I just wanted to get on and talk to you guys about our Community Recognition Awards. This is our time once a year to celebrate all the various partners that we have in the community who do all the important work that you all do. So historically, we have we've celebrated this award or this event in April, and then also we did it most recently in the summer months, and I believe it was in June. But this year we decided to move our community recognition celebration to September. The reason being that September is DSP Appreciation Week, and it just makes so much sense to tie this into that, because really it's all the work that you all do that is so important and that we're so excited to celebrate. So just some quick details. And you can scan this QR code if you'd like to register. This event is free. It's on Thursday, September 28th at 6 p.m. and it's at the Fairfield High School Auditorium. Our keynote speaker is Joshua Felder. He is an actor. He's in the recent movie with Woody Harrelson, Champions. He was the first person with a developmental disability to perform in a Super Bowl halftime show. He was one of the backup dancers with The Weeknd, and their show was that 2 years ago. And he's a global ambassador for Best Buddies. This is a very short clip, so I would just like to play it. So anybody who hasn't seen Champions, it's really good. So I'm going to go ahead and hit play and encourage you to watch it.
My name is Marcus Markovich, and I am going to be your basketball coach for the next 3 months.
Nope.
There he is.
Wait, what?
I said nope.
Is this something he normally does?
Nope.
That's Darius. He's our best player. I'm Johnny. I'm your homie with an extra chromie. Whoa.
So if you haven't watched this movie, it's streaming. I think it's on Peacock. You can just Google and stream it, but it's a really great movie. So we're very excited to have Joshua join us and kind of tell us about his experience. But outside of that, I genuinely encourage you to watch it. It's fantastic. Now we're just getting through Sorry, it's taking me through new YouTube things. Okay, these are some of our award winners from last year. Every year we highlight, we have 6 major awards, and then we had last year around 100 people receive the Community Impact Award. So we have the Community Inclusion Award, Young Pioneer Award, Volunteer of the Year Award, Lifetime Achievement Award, Community Advocate Award, and Partner of the Year Award. In the next couple of weeks, we'll be announcing who's receiving these major awards, so stay tuned for that. And then, as I alluded to at the beginning of all this, we've moved this event to September because we really want to take the opportunity to celebrate DSPs in a special way. So I encourage you to register. Again, if you use this QR code, you can register right now. Kathy also will have a little flyer with a link to register that will go out in the post-meeting email. But again, registration is free. And during the event, we're going to have a giveaway for DSPs. It's not going to be any like huge grandiose thing, but it'll be a token of our appreciation to you all. So when you register, make sure you note that you're a DSP or how many DSPs are registering on there. You'll see that in the registration. And then we'll also, I don't know if you have seen some of our DSP of the month promotions on our social media. So we'll take some time during the program to highlight those DSPs of the month. So again, just wanted to share this information. So thank you, Kathy, and thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Patricia, for sharing that with us. Appreciate it. All right, so I just have a few things that I wanted to share with you today, some updates, and then just like always, some trainings that are being provided across the county and state. So as far as updates, first thing I wanted to point out was that SanData, which is with EDD, for those of you that provide any of the services that are required to use EDD, which is HPC, participant directed HPC, and then IO Waiver Nursing, they are launching a new app. And the old app, the app that you're currently using, if you're using it on your phone, your own device, is going to no longer be updated and it will be extinct beginning in October. So you'll want to look for that app. I checked as of yesterday, the app still wasn't in the App Store to download, but it's just something you'll want to look back and check on. And you'll just Google this name, SanData Mobile Connect, and then look at the date of it to determine if it's the new one or not. Feel free to pop any questions you have about any of this in the chat as well. Just a reminder about those monthly information sessions that the DoDD Provider Resource and Support Team has. They have announced the topics for the rest of the year, and as well as given out the registration link for the July and August information sessions. So feel free to register for those. That way you have the Zoom or Teams link to be able to get onto those. There's some really great topics coming up that really apply that I think would be great. So I encourage you to do that. As Scott mentioned earlier, I just included a little information about the DSP Retention Payment Initiative, which is continuing. This last payment right here and for the July-September quarter was added. That originally wasn't with the original launch of it. So that's been added. So there'll be another one given out then. So that's really exciting. Agency providers will have to opt in for that one as well, like you have been doing if you choose to. And independent providers, this is an automatic payment given to you. So just wanted to share that. And there's a link there if you want more information about any of that. That was all of my updates. Trainings, just wanted to remind you about our Butler County UI training series that we launched last month. We have another one coming up in September. They're really helpful. They're put on by our MUI department, so I encourage you to register. We also have recordings of all those meetings on our, as we have them, they'll be posted onto our website for you to go back and look at if you're not able to attend live. We do offer 1 hour of annual training. If you are able to attend live, you have to attend it live to get that certificate. The Office of Compliance, DoDD, is also offering several trainings this year. There's one coming up, I guess, next week. Again, topics very applicable to your line of work. Encourage you to check those out and to register. They are also offering 1 hour of CEU or credits for that training. The Southwestern Ohio Council of Governments, the SWOCOG, is offering trainings throughout the year as well. There is one coming up here in just a couple weeks, July 31st. That's going to be in person. It's their one in-person session of the year. Really great topic put on by Dr. Kitty Brandel. There are links here in our meeting minutes for you to register for those. There's 2 different session times available depending on the topics that you are interested in. And there's more information in a flyer that I will include in our meeting minutes. And then there's the topics for the rest of the year. Lastly, DoDD has launched, I believe it's 4 new trainings in the My Learning app. Those are recorded trainings that you are able to go and do anytime that works out for you to do that, to get credit for those. So I've just included the links for all 4 of those new ones for you there. Actually, there's 5, looks like. So great topics there, great experts presenting those. So encourage you to check those out. That is all of my updates for today. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to either Amy or I anytime. We're always happy to help. I also wanted to put in a plug about our provider portal. We encourage you to use our provider portal. That's where all of our requests for services are posted. If you're not using that, we would like to encourage you to do that. And one great feature of that portal, in addition to having access to all the need requests that are out there, we also update our form section there. So as new documentation forms are added, you'll be able to access those. And we just added one for HPC transportation. In rule, if you use a modified vehicle for HPC transportation, you are required to do a check of the vehicle and document that. And so we have updated our HPC transportation document sheet in our portal for you to access that. All right, so our next meeting, we'll see you in September 20th at 10 o'clock on Zoom. And we'll just have one more after that for the year. This year has flown by. So great to see everyone. Thank you for coming. And we'll see you next time.